In this video, we explore one of the core ideas of macroeconomics, the expenditure multiplier. You will learn what it means, where it comes from, and how simple consumption behavior creates a powerful chain reaction in the economy. The expenditure multiplier explains how an initial change in spending leads to a larger change in national income. This ripple effect occurs because households continuously spend a portion of every additional unit of income. The key parameter behind this ripple is the marginal propensity to consume, or MPC. If MPC is 0.8, it means households spend 80% of each additional unit of income. Since the remaining 20% is saved, the marginal propensity to save, or MPS, is equal to 1 minus the MPC. To study Keynesian model of the expenditure multiplier, we begin with a fundamental identity: national income, or output, Y, is equal to aggregate consumption plus investment, that is, C plus I. Consumption itself has two parts. First, autonomous consumption, and second, induced consumption, which is equal to the MPC times income. Autonomous consumption is the amount households consume even when income is zero. It represents the baseline, income-independent portion of consumption. This captures the minimum consumption needed for survival, or consumption financed through borrowing or savings. The intuition is simple: even if income falls to zero, households still consume essentials such as food, utilities, or rent. Therefore, autonomous consumption is independent of current income. In the Keynesian model, we also assume that investment is autonomous investment, meaning it does not depend on current national income. Instead, firms invest based on expectations, interest rates, and technology. The intuition is that firms make investment decisions by anticipating future profits or replacing capital, not based on today's income level. Hence, investment is treated as given. Next, we plug in the consumption function and autonomous investment into the national income identity. Rearranging the equation places autonomous consumption and autonomous investment side by side, together known as autonomous spending. Then, by factoring out Y, we obtain the famous multiplier formula. National income equals autonomous spending multiplied by 1 over 1 minus the MPC, the multiplier.
Let's illustrate this with an example. In the Keynesian model of the economy, starting from a zero baseline, we use the national income identity where planned expenditure made up of autonomous spending and induced consumption is set equal to national output or income. Suppose autonomous consumption is 50 units and autonomous investment is 100 units of currency. Together, autonomous spending is 150. The MPC, the marginal propensity to consume, is 0.8. Next, we set the sum of autonomous spending and induced consumption equal to national output or income. We then calculate the expenditure multiplier, which is the reciprocal of the MPS. Since the MPS is 0.2, the multiplier becomes 1 over 0.2, which equals 5. Finally, by rearranging the national income identity, we solve for equilibrium output. Autonomous spending of 150, multiplied by the multiplier of 5, gives an equilibrium national income of 750 units of currency. These are simply different ways of representing how equilibrium national income is determined, depending on how we rearrange the national income identity. Whether we show the multiplier explicitly, or leave it implicit within the equation. This diagram, known as the Keynesian Cross, is commonly used to explain the expenditure multiplier and the equilibrium level of national income. National income, or output, is measured along the horizontal axis, while planned expenditure, made up of autonomous spending and induced consumption, is measured along the vertical axis. Notice the red line with a zero intercept, beginning at the origin and rising with a slope of 1. This is the 45-degree line. Every point on this line represents situations where planned expenditure in the economy is exactly equal to national output. Each of these points corresponds to a potential equilibrium national income. The blue line is the expenditure function. With autonomous spending equal to 150 and an MPC of 0.8, which determines its slope. Observe that the blue expenditure line intersects the 45-degree line exactly at 750 units of currency. This means that 750 is the equilibrium level of national income, the point where planned expenditure equals output. In other words, autonomous spending of 150, multiplied by the multiplier of 5, gives an equilibrium income of 750.
We can further explain the rounds of the multiplier's ripple effect using a mathematical idea known as a geometric series. This table shows the rounds of that geometric series for incremental expenditure. Autonomous spending, made up of autonomous consumption and autonomous investment, is injected in the first round. In the second round, households again spend the MPC fraction of the previous round's income. If we factor out the MPC, we see that in every new round, the power of the MPC increases, and the resulting smaller and smaller fraction is multiplied by the autonomous spending injected at the start. In this way, incremental expenditure falls each round, until induced consumption eventually becomes negligible. To find the sum of this infinite series, two parameters matter: the first term, which is autonomous spending, and the common ratio between terms, which is the MPC. The sum of the series equals the first term divided by 1 minus the common ratio. In our example, this is autonomous spending multiplied by the multiplier. So the accumulated expenditure, or equilibrium output, is 150 multiplied by 5, which equals 750. Now, let's visualize the series using the table. The first column lists the round number. The second column shows the incremental expenditure in each round. And the third column shows the accumulated sum of the current round and all previous rounds. In the first round, incremental expenditure is the autonomous consumption plus the autonomous investment, 50 plus 100 equal to 150. In the second round, the value is the MPC, 0.8 times 150, which equals 120. The corresponding value in the third column is the accumulated sum, 150 plus 120 equals 270. As we move down the table, incremental expenditure keeps decreasing, while accumulated expenditure keeps increasing. Eventually, by the 75th round, the incremental expenditure approaches zero, and the accumulated expenditure converges to the equilibrium level of national income, 750, which again is 150 times the multiplier 5.